Hello, folks. Welcome to Episodic. We're so back, baby.
We're back.
I'm Andrea Allen.
I'm John F. O'Donnell. This is episode number 13. We were away for a little bit because of family stuff and illness and death, etc.
All that stuff that just keeps happening over and over and over again until you die.
Yeah. Death is a part of life. But we're doing all right. We're psyched to be here. And we have an episode where we have done some prior research.
Oh, my God. Academics. You're wearing an academics blazer.
I guess, like some sort of weird bohemian 1970s college professor.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, I got it from the thrift shop. So, episodic listeners, for a very long time, I've worn pretty much exclusively black clothes.
Yeah.
But I am over it. I don't think that's where it's at anymore. Maybe it hasn't been for quite some time. I don't know. But I've decided to invest in a more colorful palette of clothes. This is still darker, but there's some purples, some blues, some sort of whatever the color that is.
An auburn,
An
perhaps?
auburn, if you will.
Yeah.
And I like to think maybe I can pull this off.
Oh, you definitely can. I feel like you're Stanhoping a little bit. You're Doug Stanhoping a little bit.
Not to his level.
Yes.
He has an amazing, I would call them alternative suits.
Yeah, he has
Amazing collection.
I wonder what his closet, because he has a home. Doug Stanhope is a comedian. If you don't know him,
Look him up. He's one of the best.
Legendary, a pioneer of dark comedy.
Yes, very dark, very personal, and very funny.
Yeah.
And just like legendary road dog, hard living, hilarious guy, booze bag.
Yeah, I don't know.
Proudly
a booze bag. I don't know how I feel about that. I did read his autobiography, Digging Up Mother or Burying Mother. One of the things about his mom's death. Rough around the edges, tough life, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyways, so he counteracts the darkness within with brightly colored suits.
Yeah, he's got these weird, awesome patterns and all that stuff. So yeah, this is maybe a little bit of in that vein a little bit. Stanhopian, if you will.
You've entered a new era.
But no, I'm stoked about it. I got a couple different flannel things going on. I will wear it pretty soon on the pod, but I purchased my first white T-shirt in many years.
What the fuck? I'm gonna be freaking out.
That is huge.
That does not compute in my mind.
A white T-shirt, and guess what? I love it.
I don't even know who you are anymore, man.
I know. I'm a whole new guy.
You can evolve at any phase in your life.
Look at me.
Always said,
at 44, whole new guy, white T-shirt guy.
We do talk in the beginning of the pod usually about your fashion choices and our music. That's like our soft launch.
It is.
Into then the most dark mental health discussion.
Yeah. Well,
Feels
look,
good.
we didn't even discuss. I got my Jeff Buckley.
Tokyo.
Jeff Buckley from when he went to Japan T-shirt.
Yeah. Wow. I love Jeff Buckley. There's a movie coming out soon about Jeff Buckley.
Yes, I saw that. I'm excited.
I hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope, it's got to be good, right?
I hope so. God,
Yeah.
please don't ruin another one of our heroes.
And I will tell you, if my midlife crisis just consists of white T-shirts and cool flannel blazers, I think I'm doing all right.
Pretty good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Actually, no, it doesn't even feel like that. That's just like
Evolution.
I just
Yeah.
want to have a little bit more style. I feel like I can pull it off because these eyebrows.
Yeah, the brows are giving, as they say, as the kids say.
Yeah, I'm giving brow. Did I tell you about the subversive friendship bracelets?
Did
I tell you about these? Okay, let me tell you about this. So these kids gave me these subversive friendship bracelets, of which I will tell you what they are in a moment.
Okay.
First of all, the white T-shirt I got is the logo from Fest, from that big music festival I got to do.
Very
So there's
cool.
a really cool shirt for Fest 23, so I got that T-shirt.
Nice.
That's my first white T-shirt.
Good
And now,
first white T-shirt.
Yes, it's a good one. Now, at Fest 23, these like teenagers got into the comedy show, and they were watching it, and they were so nice to me. They were so complimentary to me about my set, and that really meant a lot to me to resonate with them. And then they gave me these subversive friendship bracelets, one of which says "fuck Nazis"
Love it.
with the trans color palette. Very cool.
Oh my God, we're doing everything.
Yeah, love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one says, in the American flag color palette, it says "fuck fascists."
Beautiful.
But they forgot the first S in fascists. They spelled it wrong.
Fuck fascists.
So it's "fuck fascists."
Okay.
You know what I mean? Listen, the educational system has let them down, but their hearts and minds are in the right place. you don't have to know how to spell fascism to fight fascism. Am I right?
Exactly.
Let's go, kids.
Let's go, kids. We're here with you.
So I got these subversive friendship bracelets that I wear every day now.
We're Aunt and Uncle John and Andrea. We will teach you to read.
Let's go. Florida education system. Fuck the fascists.
Yeah.
Fuck the fascists. Fuck the Nazis. Let's go.
Which, speaking of, I'm swearing into my, I'm doing my swearing into becoming America citizenship ceremony, I guess, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
That's huge. Way to bury the lead. That's huge.
I know. I become an American.
Wasn't there like you were worried about delays and
Oh, yeah.
it was like a stressful thing.
It's been a long
You're getting
time.
sworn in tomorrow as an American citizen?
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
I know.
And
Born
then
to be an
day
American.
2, you have to immediately start talking shit. That's the American way.
I mean, that is part of why I was like, listen, I need an American passport so I can travel without as much anxiety. And I'm a mouthpiece, and I've been keeping it light, keeping it not so,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
Episodic listeners, here and there, we've been editing out little
Yeah,
tidbits
yeah.
because of how crazy things are, but maybe we'll get off that leash.
Yes, and then they take my
And
citizenship
then they
away
immediately take your citizenship away. You know what I mean?
First
Yeah.
podcast comes out, and they go, we got her.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought you were making it through the system, you stupid bitch.
You're out.
You're out.
Go back to Canada.
Don't be anti-fascist.
Yeah.
Fascist. Don't be anti-fascist.
Fascist.
Yes.
Come on.
Got it. Sorry.
Yes.
Respect to the Florida pronunciation.
Yeah. So, all right. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Episodic listeners, we have a very exciting episode for you all today. We listened to this very interesting TED Talk by a clinical psychologist from Colombia. I originally found out about him through NAMI, the organization I volunteer with, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They had an Ask the Expert panel with him.
Cool.
That I was going to watch, but that was like an hour and 20 minutes.
In this attention span economy.
Are you kidding me?
Come on.
2025, hour, 20 minutes. Sometimes I do it. But but anyway, we found a TED Talk that was about 20 minutes.
It was good. It was great. Top to back.
Super informative. Very, very well done. It is, the TED Talk is called I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help, exclamation point.
Yeah. And I've heard that out of your mouth.
Well, that has come out of my mouth. But what we will learn is, and we'll get into this, it's actually not denial. It's actually a symptom of the disease known as something called anosognosia. Weird word.
Cool word.
Anosognosia. And we'll get into that. But now I'm getting ahead of myself because I got defensive because Andrea called me out for my mental illness.
I have also done this as well.
No, I know. I don't have a monopoly on mental illness.
I've been we've been sisters in anosognosia.
But what I like to say is I don't have a monopoly on mental illness, but if mental illness were a game of Monopoly, I would have hotels on Boardwalk and Park Place. Let's go.
Hey.
I'm the craziest.
And I'd have a little hat. I do have the monocle on the hat.
You'd have the monocle on that. You would have 2 greenhouses on Baltic.
Oh, Baltic. I always loved Baltic.
Yeah, it was the underdog property of Monopoly.
Baltic was a horseshit. And I was always
You didn't get much from Baltic, but it wasn't expensive to get. But you didn't get much out of Baltic.
Yeah.
Whatever, Okay. Anyway, this is by Columbia University clinical psychologist Xavier Amador.
Great name.
And he says, basically, there's 2 main lessons that we're going to go into. So basically, this is about how to interact with somebody who is in complete sort of refusal of treatment and is in quote unquote denial of their illness.
And his,
his
he talks about his brother. His brother was schizophrenic.
Yes. He ties it in with talking about a personal lived experience with his brother who had lived experience with psychosis due to schizophrenia.
Yeah. Really sweet.
But this relates to people with all sorts of mental illness, and it is framed within the context of people who experience and believe psychosis and have hallucinations and deeply believe these false delusions. Realities, false realities. So basically, he says there's 2 main lessons. It's typically not denial when somebody says I'm not sick. So we'll get into that. We kind of talked about that a little with the anosognosia. It's such a weird word. And then And then he says the way that himself and other mental health professionals were speaking to their patients was actually making things worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are two interesting insights, because people always ask me, you know, if they, well, not always, but there are a lot of instances if somebody's in the throes of mania and there's people who are trying to de-escalate, people who are trying to help that person, they always ask, like, what can I do? What can I do? And I always try my best to kind of navigate that, but sometimes there's really no easy answers, especially when somebody is acutely manic, of course, because they need to be hospitalized, but they're not willing to go. But this certainly is something that can help somebody who's holding on to some psychotic beliefs, and it's definitely worthwhile to try this. And I found it to be very insightful. So let's get into it.
Very kind, the whole thing. I mean, it was, like I said, it was colored by the compassion for a loved one, and it was very inspirational in the way that he described the situation as like very hopeless and just mired with like feeling defeated, and his brother being like homeless at different times. And then there's this beautiful turn. And I always find talks like this, when people have lived experience and can share a success, are really, really impactful. But you've teed it up nicely. Essentially, like, I think the through line of it, which I love, is that these people who are in this state where they have these delusional beliefs, you can't expect them to have, for you to be like, oh, that's not true, and then be like, you're right, it's not true. Because if their mind could do that, they would do that.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, yes. And like, sometimes when people talk to me about mental health, a lot of times there's like a frustration of like, why are they making it so hard? Like, why wouldn't they just want to get better? And I'm like, well, of course, why would anyone choose this path of suffering? Like, to me, it's just such a logical conclusion that the illness itself has them in its claws, so to speak. So he was discussing how instead of trying to convince the person who is suffering to sort of like not fully agree with the delusions, but more like empathize with how that makes the person feel.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get into all that. We'll get into all that. But first, let's lay out. Okay, this is what he first says. They talk about how schizophrenia, and other psychotic disorders, unawareness of the illness is typically a symptom rather than a coping mechanism.
That's interesting.
You know, so that's an interesting way to frame it. So the lack of awareness of being mentally ill, I mean, I know for a fact that a symptom of acute mania is not being aware that you're manic. Like, when I've been in the throes of mania, I've had people that I know, love, and trust screaming in my face that I've been manic, and I just don't absolutely believe it. Yeah. Even though I've had those episodes before, and when I've not been manic, I've acknowledged after the fact that I was.
Yeah.
So that really does resonate with me, a lot. So it's a symptom rather than a denial coping mechanism. Mm-hmm. And again, there's a term for this, a really weird term that some French doctor came up with in like 1919.
It was so early. I'm like, we've had this, and this is the first time I've heard of this.
Me too.
It should be so mainstream.
And this is the sort of thing, this sort of paradigm shift, this psychological shift about how to talk about these things and how to interact with somebody who's living with and dealing with psychosis. I think this is really important.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm grateful to have found this, and grateful to potentially have this as a tool to be helpful in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So again, it's anosognosia.
Would be a great name for a woman living in Bushwick.
Hello, I'm anosognosia. I'm unaware of my mental illness.
And does that not apply to a lot of young ladies?
In Bushwick.
Yes. I mean, this TED Talk leaped me into another TED Talk, and I don't want to get too off topic, but it was interesting. There was a woman who was living with bipolar 2, and I haven't had anosognosia in the way that you describe for yourself, where I'm like psychotic and people are trying to convince me otherwise. But this woman, who the TED Talk it jumped me over to, had bipolar 2, and you similarly don't know that your mind is not functioning regularly. A lot of bipolar 2 people can function. Like, I was like holding down a job. I wasn't spending recklessly. I wasn't doing any of these things that were like throwing up huge red flags. So you just don't have any other reference point for other people's lived experiences. So that's why a lot of bipolar 2 diagnoses take like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like misdiagnosis for unipolar depression, and then they'll put you in an SSRI, and that'll tick up your hypomania even worse. So like, I certainly haven't had people be like, you're not living in reality, but I've definitely been living in this, hypomanic state, not sleeping, doing all these things, and just not knowing. You know what I mean? I'm like, I had no understanding that that's not how other people were living, or that it was an illness at all. So I understand this on a less severe level for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that's like, it's not the same, but it's analogous for sure.
Yeah.
And again, for you, we've talked about this before, when you got your diagnosis, it was immediate acceptance. It was relief.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
It's different with somebody, can be different with somebody who's truly believing their psychosis to be told, oh no, you're sick. And it's like, I mean, I've said when I've been psychotic, some of the delusions that I believed, it's like I've believed them so strongly. The idea of someone being like, oh no, that's crazy. It's like, what?
Yeah.
This is the time I feel the most alive and closest to God. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Get out of here.
Right. Also
know?
fearful. I think like another thing is like if your delusions with schizophrenia, there's usually a lot of paranoia and that kind of stuff, and a feeling like a lot of common delusions are like that you're being followed or you're being watched or people are trying to harm you. And it's like, I'm always like, this person truly believes is living in that reality. How terrifying, you know, like that no one would ever choose to be under this constant duress. Like it's just a nightmare.
Yeah, and something they talk about, we'll get into it when we get into like the treatment or the tactics for interacting with people with psychosis, but it's like, yeah, these people are scared.
Yes.
Have some empathy.
Yeah.
Have some sympathy,
Yeah.
you know? So again, because we're dealing with anosognosia compared to denial, we should be talking to people differently about their illness.
Yeah.
This clinical psychologist says, because 50 to 75% of people, that's really high, of people with anosognosia, they won't take medication.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is what baffles always the question again of people who don't suffer directly, but they have maybe loved ones who suffer. They're always like, they're off their meds. They're not taking their meds. This is like a huge sticking point. And it is frustrating to be like, I've seen these people be well on their meds and now they're off. And it's upsetting and scary and hard to understand for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So what does it feel like to have it? It's a fixed, firm belief that someone's not mentally ill, and the delusions are very real to that person.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So basically, because of this anosognosia, the doctor knows best approach or the family and friends know best approach, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because there's no agreement on the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's a very hard puzzle. Also, by the way, delusion, like I was thinking about this, like these are huge, grand delusions, but also regular people have their own delusions. Like, again, to try to focus on empathizing for others, we all live with our set of delusions that, you know, keep us balanced or, you know.
That stand-up comedy is a viable career path.
Yeah, same. Hello. But so again, like the regular mind experiences delusion, we know what that is like. Now magnify it by 1,000. And
sure.
That's what they're going through.
Yeah. And I guess it is like, there's like self-deluding behavior.
Yes.
Then there's manifestation of clinical insanity.
Yeah.
But absolutely, we all have to live with our delusions. It's the only way we can get out of bed. You know, but so yeah, because there's no agreement on the problem, you telling somebody they're sick, you're not going to get back gratitude or receptiveness or adherence to taking medication, you know? And this is something that millions of people with mental illnesses deal with.
Yeah.
You know, this is so what you can expect instead is fear, anger, and suspicion, of course.
Yeah.
Loneliness and demoralization, and then overt or secretive non-compliance with treatment.
Secretive. Yeah.
For sure.
I had a person who was close to me who struggled his whole life, and he just started taking medication and really taking his mental health seriously. And we were meeting up and chatting. And he was like, "This is the first time," because he has ADHD. He has like those pill. We all got our little pill Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday joints.
Sure.
And he's like, "This is the first time I've finished from Monday to Sunday in my whole life." And so he was like, sometimes I'd take them. I'd take a few days. I'd go off and blah blah blah. And he was like very proud, but it took well into his 40s to be like,
Yeah.
I finally finished a week's course of medication.
Wow.
Because he was hiding. He didn't want to take them. And it was,
So it was like partial compliance.
yeah, which does happen, I feel.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to, when I was, what from my opinion was not properly prescribed, the cocktail of medications, I would just pick and choose which ones I wanted to take.
Yeah.
So I would only take lamotrigine. I would only take Lamictal because there was no side effect profile.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take the antipsychotic.
Yeah.
Or then I was feeling sedated by the amount of lithium I was on. So I just like arbitrarily halved it to what that doctor had previously given to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just wasn't being forthright at all,
Yeah.
you know? So here we go. So now it's like, how do you deal with people who are living with, you know,
Like functional delusion. A lot of these
Yeah.
people function too, like not well, and sometimes not well in terms of like the speaker's brother was, you know, like I said, unhoused at times. Like there's people whose delusions are visibly wrecking their lives, but there are people who are walking around with the delusions and functioning well enough, but like their lives are hampered and they're not living, you know,
Yeah.
a quality of life that they could. So it's a lot of people, especially now in the United States. I think a lot of people are suffering on a wild
absolutely.
scale. Yeah, it's a crisis.
Definitely. There's definitely a mental illness crisis in the country and beyond. Honestly, it sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you deal with somebody that has a fixed, firm belief that they are not mentally ill, but are living with and experiencing psychosis?
Fight them.
Yeah. Take them down immediately.
Physically fight.
Yeah. Okay. So now this is interesting. The approach is about relationships.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We have to create respectful, non-judgmental relationships. And according to this clinical psychologist at Columbia, the research shows that this actually results in the acceptance of treatment.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very interesting. It results in the acceptance of treatment for an illness someone doesn't believe they have. That's amazing.
Huge pull.
Huge pull.
Yeah.
So the technique is known as LEAP.
Okay.
All right, and each letter stands for something. So the L is listen. So you listen reflectively with respect to someone's story, what they're going through, their psychosis, and you listen with respect and without judgment. You're not pretending to believe them. So
Yeah.
You're not being dishonest.
Yeah.
You're simply reflecting back his experience.
It's a hard line to toe.
It can be, but there are some tools also for how to kind of work your way through that they talk about. So I think what we should do, we'll go through this whole LEAP thing.
All right.
And then what I want to do is I will place myself in a mindset where I'm believing my Ireland delusions.
We're back, baby. We're so
Okay.
back.
And I'm explaining it to you, and I want you to use the LEAP techniques to talk me through. And we'll see at the end if you can convince me to get treatment.
Role play.
We're going to do a role play, but first we got to learn about these different LEAP aspects. Okay? So LEAP, L, listen reflectively with respect, no judgment.
Yeah.
Okay? So then the E is empathize. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So it's basically like,
That's very hard.
well, yeah, it's very hard for you to deal with that.
Yeah.
That must be challenging for
yes.
you. Yes.
That's the Messiah.
Yes. Okay. And then A in LEAP is find things you can agree on. Okay. and the things that you can agree on is never, the thing you can agree on is never going to be, hey, your delusion isn't real.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we don't try to talk people out of their delusions, and we also don't try to talk people out of their anosognosia, their unawareness of their mental illness. You know, and then the P is partner on what we can work on together.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's. And then maybe this will help you. There's some stuff here. If let's say I flat out asked you, like, so you really believe I'm sick?
Yeah.
So there's like, so then he suggests you might kind of like delay by immediately saying, yes, you're sick. You need medication. Instead, you would do like something called the 3 A's.
Okay.
Which have to do with your opinion.
Okay.
So basically, you can apologize for such opinions. You can be like, look, I think something may be going on with you. I don't know. I'm not like, I don't know for sure.
Not an expert.
I'm not an expert. You can acknowledge your fallibility as a person. And then you could also even like agree to disagree. And then another thing you can do is apologize for past interactions. You can say, I apologize for having not listened to you in the past. I apologize for having, I apologize for having had you involuntarily committed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that. So this is what's known as not the medical model approach. It's the motivational interviewing approach.
There is, before we do the role play, he does do role play with an audience member during his talk.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. He framed it because the reality of the situation, I don't know if he plucked this from like a real life example, and then told this audience member to act it out. But the person who was suffering the delusion believed he was married to a woman in real life who exists in real life, who he wasn't. And so he was stalking this woman. And so the speaker was talking to him, not being like, this isn't your wife, you're terrible, you're, like not punishing or being dismissive towards him, but being like, that must be very upsetting to see that, to not, that you were taken away from what your home and all that stuff. And it was just like, it was very, very, I had never seen someone talk to, not that this guy was delusional in reality, but like speak that way to a person, because there's something threatening about his delusions. And so I think there's a knee-jerk reaction to be like, you're threatening other people. We need to like make you feel bad and
tell
punish
you you're wrong.
Yeah. But it doesn't help the person being threatened or the person who's suffering from the delusion.
Absolutely.
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Yeah. So let's see here. We got leap. Let's leap.
All right. I'm very bad at act outs. I mean, role play, whatever. So
how are you insecure about this? What do you?
I'm terrible.
It's gonna be fun.
I'm terrible at improv and sketch comedy.
But this is not improv or sketch comedy.
All right. Let's just do it. We'll see.
Okay. So, Andrea, this is gonna be hard for me to tell you this.
Yeah.
And I know you're not gonna believe me because, just like everybody else, you're an asshole, and I'm living my life at a higher level of consciousness. So you're just going to probably dismiss me as being whatever. It's fine. But the truth is, the CIA and descendants of the Nazis are trying to assassinate me because I'm spreading the idea that there is a connectivity of life and a evolution of consciousness that is going to undermine all of their power structures, like intelligence agencies' power structures, and make them go obsolete. So they're trying to assassinate me. I'm really scared, but I might make it through because the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and Bono from U2 have my back.
And then Andrea quietly smiles and gathers everything within her. It goes, wow, that's a lot to be dealing with. You must be like scared, and this is like super heavy stuff, dude.
I am really scared. It's a lot. I mean, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. It's up to me to create either a heaven on earth scenario or a hell on earth scenario. So
I can understand that. That feels like an immense amount of pressure, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to like take a break or sleep or take any time for yourself while you're dealing with this stuff?
I guess I'm not. I mean, my sleep is irregular, but I have a lot to do and I have all of this energy, but yeah, I'm not sleeping as much as I should.
Do you think that maybe you could hold on? I'm like missing what do you say? Empathize.
Yeah.
What's next?
Oh, then there's the A. Just find things you can agree on.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not very good at this.
No,
stuff.
this is great.
I'm pretty good in person, but when I'm doing the fake, things that you can agree on.
World's a crazy place.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say it's crazy out here, folks.
Yeah,
the world is
yeah.
it's a very tough time. There's a lot of things we can't know, and things that are really scary in the world.
Also, I keep getting arrested and hospitalized, which is really annoying to me.
Yeah, that's scary. It interrupts your life a lot. How do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm being wronged, but I think that I need for that to stop happening because I have my my mission.
Yeah. It seems like a very important mission. Do you think, we've talked about this stuff in the past, and I apologize. I've been part of these involuntary commitments, and I never want to put you in a position where you feel like I'm putting you in danger or harming you. I just want you to know that I always feel like I have your best interests at heart. Like, I think, I hope that you know that about our relationship.
I mean, that's nice to hear. I appreciate the apology. Yeah, I mean, maybe I wouldn't say this. Maybe you would say this. Maybe you're right. Maybe medication would help me not.
There's no way you would say that. You never say that.
No, but what if in our role play, I'm just thinking, would that possibly work for somebody? That if you were like, look, if you want to stay out of the hospital and you don't want to have your life keep getting, upended like this, and it seems like when you're on medication that doesn't happen, would you consider taking it? Because when I was watching the longer version of this, he explained a scenario of somebody, and that kind of person ended up taking their medication, not believing they were sick, but just not wanting to be in the hospital.
Yeah, that's a good tactic. I mean, another thing that you're saying, like, oh, so maybe we can work on something together that like would be a solution that could keep you out of the hospital, or like, what can we do together to try to help you? Sort of like a blanket statement help, Yeah, the language is tricky. I think during one of your episodes, I think I said to you, which it did seem like it helped a little bit, was I was like, hey, it's me, we've known each other for so long. I've always been on your side as a friend. Like, I just want to remind you that, like, it's me that you're talking to. And I don't know how you felt about it at the time. I don't know if you remember this, but I do feel like there was a moment of being like, right, this person doesn't usually act against my best interests, or this person isn't usually like antagonizing or trying to like make my life harder. So I do think, like you were saying about relationships, it's like you can be like, hey, this is who I am in your life, let's keep that in mind, that I'm not the enemy here. Or I don't know if enemy is the right word, but I think you can kind of be like, remember that I love you and care for you. So like, let's go back to that.
Yeah, you're not trying to undermine me.
Yeah.
So then the P is partner or what we can work on together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess that can be when someone's in a delusion, what can you work on with them together? I guess it can just be listening to them is something.
Or like, let's go get do you want to get something to eat? Do you want to
Yeah.
like do a small activity together?
Try to get the person that's manic to get some sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
know?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like it's a limiting scope of like actions, but I think just like consistently showing up, like that's something that he was saying, or maybe it was the next TED Talk that I watched, but it was like, show up. Like since they're living in this delusion and it's their reality, they're not going to go to the appointment. They're not going to.
Yeah.
So you can't force them, but you can show up and be like, you know, like we said, maybe if you go to this doctor, then like you won't have to get, you know, put into the hospital. So maybe we go together, you know, like it is weird because it is a little deceitful on a level, or like you're trying, like you were saying, like you could agree to disagree. Like if confronted, you to be like, do you not believe that this is true? You can be like,
It's being a bit evasive.
yeah, which is a difficult line to toe, but
Yeah,
it
but
can
I
be
think
done.
it's okay to be evasive with somebody who's acutely dealing with psychosis
For
because
sure.
it ends up helping them.
Yeah.
You know, but it just has to be tactful. Like they're basically, so like if I was like, do you believe that I'm mentally ill because I think the CIA and the Nazis are trying to assassinate me, Andrea?
No.
No, but you're not. I guess you don't flat out say no.
Yeah,
I think
I'm kidding.
I think if you said that to me, if it was reversed,
You'd become suspicious of me, probably.
no,
Or
I
I
would
don't
be
know.
like, no, I'm saying how I would reply to that
Yeah.
is I would say, look, it doesn't matter what I think. I just want to make sure that you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, look, you could even be like, look, I'm not an expert. I am wrong about things all the time.
Yeah.
I just know that I'm worried about you and I want to hear what's going on from your perspective. And wow, you just told me your delusion. Or you just told me
What's going on. Yeah.
And that's really scary.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. I feel for you. If I really thought that someone was trying to kill me, like this big power structure apparatus was trying to assassinate me, I would be very scared. So you're dealing with that, and that sounds awful. So then the A, that's L and E. Then the A is be like, can we agree that that it would be good for you to get some rest?
Yeah.
Get something to eat, do something like that. And then we can partner on helping in that way, and then try to steer things towards, you know, do you think that I don't know, it's hard. How do you then slip in, like, take your meds?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's trickier.
It's
trickier.
It's very individual,
But
too.
it's very individual. But sometimes it's possible. I think what he's saying in the research is just believing somebody, or just listening to somebody, rather, not believing, just listening to somebody, hearing them out without judgment, opens them up to then being open to treatment.
Yeah. I mean, he was talking about his brother, and he was saying, you know, his brother was deeply like in this cycle, and there were periods of time where they weren't in contact because he just felt like he couldn't do anything for him, and very, very
7 years.
in despair. Right. 7 years. And then he sort of reframed how he dealt with the brother. And then the brother was well for like 12 years or something like that, a very long time period.
Yes, but also the brother never accepted that he had a mental illness. They said that in the NAMI one. So basically, he was just like, "Look, I don't want to put mom through this anymore.
Yeah, sure. Relationships.
Every time I'm not on medication, I seem to end up back in the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't believe that I have a mental illness, but I'm going to take this medication." And then he ended up taking like one of those, like, you know, kind of like injection, like slow release medication things.
Yeah.
And then he was okay. He only had one hospitalization after that, and it was actually a voluntary
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah.
you
That
know?
part was so encouraging.
So it did work, you know, and that's another thing that just made me think. It's like, that's something to be like, look, you know, this is, a lot of people are really scared right now
Yeah.
about what's going on with you. Does that matter to you?
Yeah. Again, centering on relationships.
Centering on relationships. I think that really is the big takeaway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like, it's similar to people who go to AA, because community is a huge, you know, cornerstone. Again, it's not exactly the same thing, but like having the relationships and the consistent community keeps a person tethered a little bit, you know, whereas if you completely give up because you feel as if you've reached the end of your rope and being able to like fix them, quote unquote,
Yeah.
then the shame buries them further and further.
Yeah, there's the shame, absolutely, but also it's just the lack of awareness of the mental illness.
Yeah.
So it's basically like talking to a person with the LEAP techniques is putting them more at ease.
Yeah.
It's giving them some sense of relief because someone's hearing them out and, you know, having respectful sort of acknowledgement of their fears that are very, very legitimate to them.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very relationship centered. So this clinical psychologist ends the TED Talk. The last thing he says is how we approach people who have these illnesses, who say they're not sick, is vitally important.
Yeah.
And the relationships we build are the key.
Yeah.
So it's something to keep in mind. So it's something to like, potentially, if you really get somebody on your side in that way, they're much more likely to be around you. And there's more of a chance that maybe they'll take some good advice and get some help.
Yeah, because you always take advice from the people you respect or that you feel they care for you. Even when you're not in psychosis, there's people you go to because you feel they'll be without judgment. I always seek out the opinions of people who I feel will not judge me and make good decisions themselves. And so even, you know, with delusion, the need to feel safe is even higher because you're being told that your reality. Like imagine like during the role play of the guy who was stalking this woman, what the doctor said was like, that must be so heartbreaking that you were taken away from your wife and that you didn't have your home. And again, like he truly believes that. That's like a movie. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's heart-wrenching.
Yeah. So
have some empathy.
Absolutely.
You know, care about these people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that is something that is oftentimes lost. So if anybody is dealing with a friend, a family member that's dealing with psychosis, that's dealing with mental illness and doesn't have that insight into the fact that they're sick, they have psychosis, try to not agree with them, but hear them out, listen to them, and empathize. I think those two things are huge. And kind of go from there and ask them, you know, like, do you want some relief from this? What can we do to give you some relief from this?
Yeah.
You know? And are you worried about what this is doing to other relationships?
Yeah.
Do you care about those things? And see what happens. It's just, there's more likelihood there that someone will be amenable to treatment than just calling them sick and saying they're delusional and psychotic.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, health related, and not that mental health isn't health, but like body health, where a lot of the times the focus of medical providers is solving the problem, which is great. We want to work towards solving problems and, you know, using the science and medication, all that stuff. I'm with that. But a lot of the times it's the person with the problem is kind of ignored. Like the whole background and makeup of the person is ignored, and it's just like, here's the problem, let's solve it. And it feels a bit lab rat-ish sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes the origins can be connected, of course, to what's actually going on with the person in a more sort of like three-dimensional way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as someone who has some chronic pain issues,
chronic pain in the ass.
Come
on.
There we go. Hey,
who's the bad boy of the pod now?
This
All right,
week,
go ahead,
John's fucking throwing the puns and the drops. But yeah, I mean, there's. I've always felt better leaving an appointment after a doctor has been like, "Oh, that's hard," or you know, like, how are things going stress wise? You know, like some, and a lot of doctors do this, but I do feel like there's kind of a cold clinicalness sometimes to medicine. And similarly with mental health, it's like, well, you're wrong and you need medication and that's the answer. And it's like, those things are true, but this person is also suffering. So like, how can we embrace the whole?
And do we want to be right, or do we want to get them help?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And
So, but I feel like this as we go through this, I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Yes, it does.
But just, it's like, I've never, and I'm sure that I've practiced aspects of this with people that have been in crisis.
Yeah.
But just to have it laid out and to really realize that it's research-based kind of mental paradigm shift that can happen and how to interact with people that are dealing with psychosis, I think is a really crucial thing to know and a great, tool to have in your bag if you're stuck in the, very challenging position of trying to help somebody in crisis.
Yeah, I think the stat, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's like maybe 1 in 5 people have struggle with mental health issues within their life. It's probably 1 in 3.
Honestly, NAMI's log line is 1 in 5 people have mental illness. The other 4 are friends and family.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, this is
everybody's touched.
Incredibly common. Yeah, everyone is touched. So, this isn't like this unique situation. It's within the fabrics of a society. Again, in our current climate, everyone is really trying to keep above board right now. And,
sure.
So it's nice to have tools.
So episodic listeners, I implore you to watch this this TED Talk. So it's Columbia University clinical psychologist Xavier Amador, and the TED Talk is entitled "I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help." And then there's another resource. If you go to the NAMI website, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and you type in NAMI Ask the Expert, there's a whole series of Ask the Expert videos, and one of which is about this as well, if you want to go even more sort of deep dive. But I think for today, this was great.
We are the mental health resources of America.
You know what I was thinking about? What we actually are, because, we do our podcast and we put it on social media and the clips and everything. We're we're just a couple dumbass comedians, So we're like the first entry point for people just to get a little flavor of what mental health could look like before getting
the gateway drug. Yeah.
We're a positive version of a gateway drug.
Yes. They're like, I love that blazer. These guys are kind of kooky. I feel
want to get mentally healthy.
A kinship with these
Join us. But where can people find you, though?
Find me at Andrea Comedy 69 on Instagram. All of my stuff is there, and that's the best way to enter into the Andrea Allen world. How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm JFOD Loves You, JFOD Loves You on social media. And honestly, JFODlovesyou.com is just everything. Just go there. It's a link tree.
World Wide
Web. You guys, you can just watch my special, join my newsletter, watch the pod, listen to the pod, whatever. It's all good. But
All right. Till next week.
Peace out.
Bye.